Hey, welcome to Frambles. So, I wanted to talk a little bit about healing. I talked I'm just touching on stuff, but, I talked about forgiveness. But the other part of that goes along with us releasing those resentments is, the actual healing. And I would love to tell you that it is this wonderful, beautiful thing. And sometimes it is. Sometimes you have a good cry. If it's anybody involved, you hug it out and you know what I mean? You really release that because you really care about each other and you cut each other some slack. But then there are deeper issues. There are traumas and emotional injuries that come up that may have kind of hid themselves for a while. And I'm always going to suggest that you talk to a professional. When I say professional, even generally, a s I'm going to say a psychologist, not a psychiatrist. There are many people who specialize, which is wonderful. But if you start out with a psychologist, they can probably lead you other places, other references, other resources if you need them. Um, but it's real important to heal and to vent to somebody. The great thing about a psychologist is they're not there to tell you what's going on. They elicit from you your own answers. Their job is to ask you the questions that are going to help you answer those questions. So we know where our own junk lies, you know, and we can better navigate, not just healing, but you know, how we show up in the world. So that's the first thing I'm going to say. But as wonderful as healing is, and it is. It's amazing. Many people they don't see life the same, but it is hard work. I do suggest you need some kind of a support system, and I don't mean friends and family. I mean someone who has been through things. Um, Sometimes we're trying to break out of mentality, or we realize, the people we love, they're great, but they're not the person to go to for certain things since they haven't experienced them, right? Um, they they lovingly will help you, hopefully, but in the best way they can. But it might not be the broad scope of experience that you really might need. Um, and the other thing a real big thing I wanted to say is when people start to heal. If you're married, you know, you start to see things a little differently. And some spouses are like on board and they are all about it. And they will even start their own healing process, want to do stuff, even together, which is really cool. But a lot of times, our friends and family, um, they have a hard time because they know your reactions. They know if they're yelling about the neighbor who's crazy, da 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 da, they usually you would give a certain reaction, but sometimes those reactions start to change from us, right? We're you're not totally gonna metamorphosize overnight, but it may feel like that to friends and family. It it's not. It's very human, to feel like somehow you're being betrayed by somebody who is actually, you know, getting better in some way because you don't recognize them anymore. And it's scary for our friends and family. It is. And they can also be angry at us sometimes too, which is why I say, You really need, good, strong support of people who have been through it. Um, but I suggest you start out with, a simple therapist or a meditation group, something that's going to help you through those things. Um, but I want to say, don't get mad at your friends and family. I want to say to your friends and family, you know, don't get mad. Um, but it is a change, and it can change relationships. So I figure if I tell you now, while you're beginning that journey, um, you might put it somewhere and remember when things start to come up, and try not to, be triggered or hurt. It's not that people don't love you. It's it's a really hard thing. Especially a husband and wife, you make plans in the beginning and now it's 20 years later and you are branching out and you want to go back to school for something, and that in itself can be, it's a healing thing too in its own way, but it's change. Um it doesn't always feel great for somebody else, and it makes them a little wobbly. So that's it. That's my little rant today. Oh, I'm over time. All right. Have a good night.